Arthen began to teach me. Not with words but with demonstration. The child's moods, its resonance, its tiny experiments with telekinetic energy. They were all lessons in survival, empathy, and understanding alien consciousness. One night, when the station's corridors hummed with the quiet of sleeping beings, I stood over Elyar, watching him pulse with light and sound. "You're afraid," I said softly. "I know. But I won't leave." He trembled, and a tiny shock ran through my hands. Pain? No. A connection. A bridge. And for the first time, I felt it. The enormity of responsibility. I wasn't just a human. I was his anchor. His world. His calm. And the station, the Empire, would never forgive mistakes. Then came the betrayal. A council of elders, beings older than humanity itself, appeared in the chamber. Their voices were cold, slicing through the resonance like knives. "You have endangered him," they intoned. "He is heir to all we command. His safety is paramount. Yet you," they gestured at me, "have interfered." Arthen stepped between us, silent authority radiating from his every movement. "She did what we could not," he said. "She calmed him. She kept the heir alive." The elders paused, scanning me as if I were a virus in their perfect system. Their silence was deafening. And then, a decision. "She will remain," one said finally. "But she will answer for every heartbeat of his life." Every heartbeat. I swallowed. I had no idea what that meant. Weeks blurred into a cycle of lessons, threats, and discoveries. I learned to interpret Elyar's hums, his tremors, the subtle shifts in his skin. I learned that the child, Emperor-to-be, was capable of summoning storms in the artificial atmosphere, bending metal with thought, even glimpsing events before they happened. I learned, painfully, that I loved him, not as a child, but as a soul tethered to mine by circumstances that defied reason. And maybe that scared me more than the screaming had. Then came the day of the final test. The station shuddered. Alien warships appeared on the outer sensors, massive constructs from rival sectors, claiming the air as their own. Elyar's resonance surged uncontrollably, a scream that could have torn the hull apart. I held him. Against all logic, all fear, all instinct. I wrapped him in my arms and whispered everything I felt. Everything I feared. Everything I promised. And the hum, oh the hum, changed. It deepened, expanded, wrapping the station in a cocoon of energy. The warships faltered. Weapons overloaded. The attackers pulled back, confused, terrified, powerless against a child calmed by a human. In that moment I understood everything. I had not only saved him. I had shaped history. I had rewritten a legacy. Arthen looked at me afterward, pride and warning in his impossible eyes. "You were never meant to touch him," he said. "And yet, the universe needed you." Elyar nestled against me, tiny hands brushing my cheek. "Stay," he whispered in his alien cadence. "Stay with me." I nodded. Because for the first time, I realized that some bonds defy species, logic, and even fear. And as the station hummed, alive and pulsing around us, I whispered back, "I'm not going anywhere." The galaxy had screamed. And together we had answered. And that was only the beginning. The day the market screamed back at me, I realized the universe could still shock me, and I was standing right in its teeth. I had come to Ganyra Station for routine trade. Neon signs buzzed over stalls crowded with alien merchants hawking fruits that glowed like miniature suns and fabrics that shimmered in colors humans hadn't yet named. The smell of spiced air and ionized metal made my head spin. And then I heard it, a scream unlike anything I'd ever known. Not human. Not animal. Not anything I had words for. I turned. In the center of the market, a small creature thrashed, its skin a patchwork of translucent violet and silver, eyes blazing with chaos. Its shriek sliced through the ambient noise like a laser. Vendors froze, their chatter replaced by murmurs of fear. People stepped back, whispering about curses and unlucky offspring, their glances sharp with superstition. And yet, something inside me, an instinct, a madness, maybe courage, pushed me forward. I didn't know why. I didn't know what I was about to touch. I just knew I couldn't leave it screaming. "Hey," I said, my voice trembling more than I wanted. "It's okay. I'm here." The alien child turned its gaze on me. Its scream hit again, more desperate, and I flinched. Every instinct screamed to run, to hide. And then, it blinked. Something in its enormous reflective eyes met mine. Pain. Fear. A quiet, aching loneliness. I stepped closer. And against every logical survival instinct, I did the impossible. I hugged it. Its body stiffened. I felt a shiver run through its crystalline bones. The scream cut off mid-sentence, the wailing replaced by a vibrating hum, almost musical, resonating through my chest. Everyone in the market froze. Even the vendors with weapons poised lowered them in stunned silence. No one knew why. No one understood what I had just done. And frankly, neither did I. The child's eyes softened. Its small hands clutched at my jacket, and for the first time, it made a sound that was not a scream. A tiny, trembling sigh. Relief. I stepped back, my heart hammering. There, I whispered, though I had no idea what I had calmed. But that was only the beginning. Ganyra Station had rules, unwritten, unspoken, but everyone knew them. Never touch the royal wards. Never interfere with alien children in the market. And certainly, never draw attention to yourself in a place where the Emperor's security watched from hidden eyes. I had broken every one of them. A voice spoke behind me, deep and resonant, vibrating with authority that seemed almost alien in itself. You touched him. I spun. A man, or what looked like a man, stood in the shadow of the crystalline archway. His skin shimmered faintly under the market's neon lights, shifting colors like liquid metal. His eyes, impossibly green, fixed on me with an intensity that made my knees weak. You calmed him? The voice wasn't angry. Not exactly. It was an observation, a calculation, a verdict rolled into one. I didn't know what else to do, I stammered, my fingers still tingling from contact with the child's alien skin. You know nothing, he said, and yet he smiled faintly. And yet, you've done what no one in 100 generations could. He is calm. The words hung in the air like a living thing. 100 generations? Calm? I had just hugged a screaming kid. What kind of child screamed across generations? But the truth of it, whatever it was, made the hair on my arms stand on end. Because the child was important. More than anyone had ever told me. Over the next hours or maybe days, it was hard to tell on a station where the sun never rose in any recognizable pattern. I was escorted through winding corridors of Ganyra Station I had no right to see. Surveillance screens tracked us, silent guards flanking our passage, their movements fluid and predatory. And the child clung to me like a lifeline, its tiny limbs wrapped around my torso, humming that impossible resonance I couldn't translate. The metal man, he called himself Arthen, spoke rarely, and when he did, it was in riddles. You've broken protocol, human, he said. And yet, protocol would have killed him. I didn't know, I admitted, but he didn't respond. He simply studied me with eyes that pierced past the surface, reading my intentions as if they were open circuits. Finally, we entered a chamber vast enough to be its own station. At its center, the child's otherworldly crib floated, supported by invisible grav fields. Holographic glyphs glimmered in the air, documenting centuries of lineage, laws, and warnings. And there, etched into a crystalline plaque, I read it, heir to the Ganyra Empire, prodigy of the blood resonance. I swallowed hard. Heir, empire, blood resonance? I had hugged an alien royal. And apparently, I had stabilized the most dangerous child in the galaxy. You do not understand, Arthen said quietly, almost a whisper, though it thundered in my chest. He was untouchable. His screams, destroyers of sanity. Only the rarest of empathic resonance can calm him. And I had no idea how I had done it. But that was only the beginning. Days passed. Or maybe hours. Time felt slippery, like mercury, as the child clung to me, rarely letting go. Each moment revealed new surprises. Its mind, I learned, was a labyrinth. Thoughts like prismatic fractals, emotions layered upon layers, and an instinctive understanding of danger far beyond human comprehension. Yet it laughed at the smallest things. My attempts at human humor, the sound of the market's neon hum. And then came the whispers. Do you know who she is? One guard asked. Do you know what she's done? I shook my head. I didn't. She has bonded with the heir, another said, tone low. No human should touch him. No human should survive the attempt. I began to realize the gravity of my situation. I wasn't just a stranger in an alien market anymore. I was a pivotal part of a story that had been written long before I was born. The child, let's call him Elyar, though the station never pronounced it for humans, reacted to my fear. It flinched, its hum faltering, a tiny whimper escaping its throat. And in that moment, I knew something terrifying. He wasn't just a child. He was a reflection of emotions, of intentions, of power. And if I faltered, the consequences would be catastrophic.